Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426 and today we have the review of the Figure Standard Ultraman B-Type Action version. So this is an Ultraman model kit. However, once again I would like to mention a few things. Number one, as much I am not too crazy into Ultraman as I am into Kamen Rider series. So the reason why I bought this was mostly out of curiosity because I was recently able to watch the Netflix series of the Ultraman, which these guys show up. As far as I know, there is a manga version and then there's the anime version, and the anime version kit was only been able to been watched in the Netflix series as well, as far as I know. But if there was a different way to watch it, do let me know. So anyway, the one that is shown on Netflix is slightly different from the traditional Ultraman series. It's basically like the base storyline is that, as far as I understood it, was that from the first original Ultraman series, a few years has passed as well. So now the aliens are back, but once again, the way how they fight the aliens are now much different because there's more galactical diplomatic situations going on here. So yeah, so the main guy who was Ultraman lost his memory, but got his memories back, and now kind of understood what's been happening as well. And then now he has a son who grows up and now has to also take over, well, not take over, but basically become also an Ultraman and fight aliens. But once again, the most different thing about the Netflix one is that usually in Ultraman series, as far as to my understanding, is that once a monster appears, it's a gigantic monster, so they have to transform into aliens. Basically, the Ultraman hosts a human, so they go inside a human, and when they need to fight, they would come out. Well, the human becomes Ultraman and becomes a giant alien. So basically, Ultramans are giants and then fight. In this case, that's not the series. That's not the way they do it. They basically just transform in wearing these suits, and there's no more aliens. And the Ultraman thing is no longer like a specific alien. It's just anybody who transforms into like this is now considered Ultraman. It's a bit complicating, but that's the best way I could explain as someone who barely knew about Ultraman or knows the deep lore about the stuff. Anyway, so yeah, let me get off the stand. And number one, you might have noticed that in the name there was a Type B, B-Type Action. As far as I understood that when these things first came out, there were two types. One was the original one, which had a much more, how should I say, a manga title, a manga cover looking more box, and then this one that looks like a typical, Figure Standard box art. Now, as far to my understanding, the original ones that I just mentioned was that they have LED gimmicks inside them, and which also limits their articulation a lot. So you can see, like, this one has its entire body section is top to bottom here. In this case, this guy actually has multiple, parts here now. So that's one of the biggest differences, is that now the original ones had LEDs. Now these ones with the B-Type with the action name in it, it's more focused on articulation as far as to my understanding. So yeah, so there's no LED gimmicks in here. So do not get confused as well. But once again, I believe if you know where to get them, you should be able to still be able to purchase them. All right, that's about explaining. Let's look at the figure, the model kit itself. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the Ultraman himself. This is the main character one that he uses. There's like 6 Ultramans in the series. I don't plan on getting everything, but there are ones I do want to try out. So once again, definitely I am liking the design here because it definitely has instead of the more organic alien look, this has more of a mechanical. This is a body armor or armor type look. So being a Kamen Rider fan, this was basically up my alley in terms of design. All right, so before we go to components, let's talk about the leftover parts. So the leftover parts I can only assume are from the original, the one with the LED version in it, because this body is just a whole chunk of body itself, separating like the waist, the top body and such. So yeah, so that's that. And then once again, we have these parts, which is the chest part, I assume, for the LED version, and then this thing, which doesn't look like a part, but more like a key to like either pull or push out something from somewhere. Then we have some leftover parts that are certain joints, and then we have a leftover repeat piece of a clear. So the one I use are these colors, the clear blue ones, but they also give you the clear ones. So I'm not really sure what these are used for. I'm assuming maybe if you don't like the blue chest, you can always go with the clear version, or in terms of LED wise, or maybe they wanted to match a certain color. But once again, not sure why, but we have this as a leftover. And then we, on the blue side, there's this part which I have zero clue what it's used for, so leftover part. And then here we have leftover parts for here. Now, in building wise, this definitely looks like the ankle joint armor here in front. That looks like it, but these are leftover pieces. I'm assuming maybe there's some differences compared to the original LED version. And then once again, we get the decal stickers. The only one I use is for the rifle, this red scope sticker. And we have the entire sticker sheet. Now you can see I didn't use any of them. So anything I could color, I tried to color. These ones were very tricky, and I decided not to use it because it's not really too visible. And then these gray ones, once again, thought it was very unnecessary because they wanted me to apply stickers on these dark gray stickers on top of these the silver color parts, which I thought it was a little bit of a waste. So once again, did not apply. Most of them, as far as I understood, goes like onto the side here and such. So it's not a part that's really too visible. So I decided to like skip on it. All right, and then we do also get a whole action base here. I'm not a big fan of these action bases, so I decided not to build them as well. Ever since my experience with the Figurized Standard Kamen Rider build, Rabbit Tank form, not the best fan of those stands. And finally, here we have the equipment parts. So number one, we have these open style hands, which are very usable. They are meant for various poses as well. And you can see there is a hole there. Now those holes are meant for the Spacium slicer effect. So we can see this is a like energy slicer. He can either throw them or use them as shields. But in this case, kit wise, these are meant to be thrown. So you can actually slap those pegs into the hand, and you can see it looks like it's holding it. So pretty well done. I was actually really curious how they were going to do this. So you get two of them like in the show or series, and then we get the Spacium Rifle, which I do not have any memory that this was actually in the show. My only guess is that this was only used or seen in the manga version, which I have not watched. But yeah, this is the Spacium Rifle, and for the rifle we do get a dedicated trigger finger hand. So pretty well done. Very long rifle, but also simple at the same time. And here is that red sticker I just mentioned. Now let me just get these stuff onto the other side. And then here we have my personal favorite is the Spacium Beam effect part, or the Ultra Beam effect part. Although in the manual, the way how they, or in the promo pictures, the way how they attached this was slightly different from the show, I remember. But once again, who knows, maybe in the manga it was different, but still, I'm really glad that they gave these parts. And then here we have some other parts. So in order to use that beam effect, you have to swap the arm guards with these. You can see there are those holes there, and you have to basically plug that peg into there to have the effect part. So a little bit swapping is needed. And here we have some Spacium blades. These are basically laser blades if you want to be like, simple. So yeah, once again, swapping parts needed, and once again, those laser parts are clear plastic. Alright, so now let's get on to the articulation first, and we'll go into the equipment demonstration. So once again, here we have the Ultraman stuff. I do like the design here. I think one of the most negative comments that I've seen so far regarding the design is that it looks too much like Iron Man, because that was the time where Marvel Avengers was a whole big thing, so everybody was thinking, oh, that's Iron Man, or like that. But still, it took me a while to appreciate the design, but once after looking at the series, definitely appreciate it more. And there are maybe two more that I would like to try out of this series, preferably the B-type action. The action version. All right, so let's start with the head. Now the head, you can see I used the eyes. I did use the clear blue stickers, but they don't really show that much. So so it's a little bit tricky to show that. So maybe I could have colored those with metallic blue marker one more time. But yeah, they are clear piece in the eyes. And this red section here, this line here is supposed to be a sticker. Decided to use a red Gundam marker and color it. And now here was a little bit a sticker that I could not understand. They told, because there was a sticker with red and gray here, but as far as I know, only these linings inside are supposed to be red. So I think I didn't use it. So if I could get a red Gundam lining marker, I think it would be much better to just line and fill those in on each side instead of just using a sticker. So you can see I basically did not use any stickers at all at maximum, because I don't want this to be messy. Ever since my last experience with the Figurized Standard Kamen Rider kits, if they're stickers heavy, they become really messy very fast. Alright, so keep in mind, this is not a full-fledged alien. This is actually a guy in a suit here. So The only thing that looks a little bit odd is maybe the neck might seem a little bit too long for a human, but oh well. So the neck, actually, the head can go down and up pretty well done, and then you do have a little bit of the neck forward and backward movement going on there. Going to the side is possible. 360, if you can force it, it is possible to go 360 as well, although being a human inside, I don't think that's possible as well, but I do like the overall design, definitely mechanical look as well. And now looking at the shoulders or arms, the shoulders and arms do have the forward and backward movement going on here, so plenty of articulation going on here. And you can see this shoulder armor may look like it's actually on the body or connected to the body. No, it's actually connected to the arm, top arm here, so it will move. Oh, actually, it will move together. So moving 360 is possible, although keep in mind, you can see that this black joint here that's holding the armor was actually lying here between the gaps. So if you want to move it, make sure you dislocate that part as well. So you can see the main ball joint connection is in there, and there is no polycaps used in this kit, so I would like to mention that. So the arm can go to the side 90 degrees, and the arm here can go 360 as well. And you can see this top section was also supposed to be a gray sticker. I decided to use a metallic Gundam marker, metallic gray, not the chrome one, just a metallic gray Gundam marker, and color it. Granted, it's not the exact tone, but better than using a messy looking sticker. And then arms can only bend roughly about this, so more than 90 degrees, that's well done. And the gauntlets here, these are the parts that you can interchange with the other ones as well. So if you want to have the lasers or beam version, you can do that. And hands are your typical ball jointed hands, although the ball joint may seem a little bit smaller than the typical Gunpla one, but yeah, you can tell it's a ball jointed one. And once again, this red line is also supposed to be a sticker. Use a red Gundam marker to color it. And on the gauntlets here, let me just get another gauntlet for example. So you can see these red sections here. Those are also supposed to be stickers. I decided to color it with a red Gundam marker as well. So there are a lot of those small detail parts that require stickers, so I decided to just color them because eventually they're going to get messy if I use a sticker. Alright, looking at the chest here. So in the chest there is a, if I remember correctly, there's a black piece inside the chest which also requires you to use a chrome silver sticker. But I saw that was unnecessary, so I decided to use a chrome silver marker inside. But once again, it doesn't really show that much because you're covering up with a clear blue piece and you can barely see inside. So, oh well. But still better than nothing, and it turned out pretty okay if you ask me. Now the body here, you do have a nice ab crunch going on here, going forward and backwards as possible as well. Because as far as I know, the LED version cannot move the body at all, even go back like this. So that's that. The only part I had a little bit issues was this back panel because it kept falling off because apparently the peg and hole system wasn't too tight, so I decided to just glue them back on. Alright, so that's that for much for the body. And then for the legs here, definitely interesting leg joints here, or the side joints here though. You can see the main connection here, let me just there we go, is a plastic ball joint here. And these parts here are also kind of interesting. There are some parts I just don't understand why they designed it like that, but definitely interesting design. And you can see these parts can go up and down on their own, but once again, they're kind of stiff, so do be careful. There is a chance if you force it, you can actually snap that off, so do be careful. If you feel like it's too tight on anything, and to the point where you think you're going to break it, do sand them down or a little bit, or you can apply oil, which I have done on certain kits as well. So anyway, because of that, you do have a side swivel going on here as well. The legs really can't go to the side as much as you think, but once again, being a human inside, I can totally understand that. Going forward, no problem, because there's no front skirt as well. Going to the back, also no problem as well. Looking at back one more time here, I do like the overall. We have some sort of spine gimmick here, and here is a hole for the action base that was included. Once again, not a big fan, so I don't think I'll be using it. Although I do wish they would have more of a universal plug here with the circular one. Now looking at the legs here, I do like the overall color separation parts here, like the red overall here as well. And then once again, these red parts you can see on the feet area or the boot area. Those four are also supposed to be stickers. I decided to color them with a red Gundam marker as well. So you can see there are a lot of small stickers, so not really ideal for stickers if you ask me. So bend wise, you do get roughly a 90-degree bend, but slightly more because once again, human inside. I guess that would make sense because it's armor colliding with each other. And then here we have the foot foot guard, which does go up a little bit, and then once again feet wise you do get a ball jointed feet, so going side to side is possible, 360 is possible, forward possible, going down not so much, and then you do get a pretty good pivot joint as well. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the articulation. So I would say, considering that this is actually a human being inside a suit, they did a pretty good job on replicating the articulation regarding that. So I have zero complaints on it. Alright, so I'll be right back with the demonstrations of the equipment, so we'll see what this thing can do. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration going on here. So here we have the Spacium slicers. So Spacium slicers, these are basically a laser saw disc in a way, and once again, in order to use these, you do need to swap out hands to the open style hands, and there are holes in these hands which you can plug the effect parts plugs into there. So they did a really good job executing this, and if you know how to do photoshops, or depending on how you angle your shots, you can definitely hide those pegs depending on how you take it. So I think they did a really good job on this as well. Now in the series, these are usually thrown, but also there is another way they would make a larger version to use it as a shield. But once again, I guess asking a gigantic version of this would be a little bit tricky as well, and then I think you would require a different style hand to use that. But still, overall, I'm really satisfied as well. And there was something I forgot to mention is the body articulation. So you can go side to side, but once again, not as much as you think. Once again, this is if you consider that this is an armor and there's a human inside, yeah, that is a thing. So yeah, a little bit limited, but much better than the LED version as far as I know. Alright, so we've seen the first effect parts. I'll be right back with the second effect parts. Okay, so here we have the second weapon. So here we have the Spacium blade effect part. So I think that's what they call it. So these are basically basically laser lines here. A little bit odd because once again, this was technically the first weapon that this character used after transforming. Once again, it's really hard to say that he used it properly, or basically it's really hard to use even when you consider the human anatomy, because it's not like a blade that's popping out to the side, or it's not like a beam sword that's popping forward beyond the hand. So a little bit tricky because he's how should I say, he's more like an infighter where he goes up close and punches and kicks the enemy. So he would constantly just punch, but I don't think these would actually touch the enemies most of the time. So I think they stopped showing these in the series. But once again, it is cool that they added this, and the fact that they do use blue clear plastic parts here. But once again, yeah, it's a cool weapon, but I would say even very difficult to use even for humans. Alright, so that's that. I'll be right back with the Spacium Rifle. Okay, so here we have the Spacium Rifle, which I have zero knowledge on because this was not seen in the series. I mean, the fact that having Ultraman hold a gun like this, that kind of looks a bit odd. I mean, granted, there is another Ultraman that uses a ton of weapons, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, so it's a bit odd for the Ultraman for this specific character to hold this kind of weapon. Not in the series, so I'm assuming this was shown in the manga version. So once again, yeah, but the biggest issue I have is that the ball joint on the trigger finger is so loose. It's a very weak connection. So yeah, it's gonna fall off pretty constantly, and luckily I don't really have any affection for this weapon, so I think I'm gonna pretty much scrap this or use it for something else. Alright, so there's only one thing left to show, which is the highlight, is the Spacium Beam or Ultra Beam, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the final demonstration here. So here we have the Ultra Space Beam, or Ultra Beam, or the Spacium Beam as well. So the promo pictures, the only part I found odd is that on episode 1 of the series, he would fire it like this, although what he would do is that there's these two connecting points. There's like a port here and then another connecting point here. They would connect the 2 points, and then how he would fire is that he would pull down. After the 2 points are connected, he would pull down and then the beam would fire. But all the promo pictures are all posing like this, and then technically on this side, because on episode 1 he would fire from this arm like this, but on all the other ones would be like showing it like this. So a little bit odd, but once again, I guess both ways can work. So that's just a little bit odd part I found, but maybe the manga was a little bit different. But once again, they did an absolute fabulous job on the effect part. I am a big fan of these type of effect parts. So once again, really appreciate it, and well done execution here. Now, at first, getting the 2 hands like this was a little bit tricky, but once I figured it out, it's not too hard as well. And that is pretty much it for the review of the Figurized Standard Ultraman Type B Action. So once again, I really enjoyed this kit. Building it was also fun. It was a little bit refreshing as well. So there are maybe 2 or 3 I would like to get. One of them is definitely 100% the Ultraman suit Zophie suit, which was worn by the original Ultraman guy, story-wise, as well. And maybe Ultraman Taro, because I don't really see much product reviews of him. Maybe it's just hard to get, or maybe they only made a few of them. So yeah. I am aware that there's another one coming out soon, the big buff one that kind of looks like the Hulkbuster, used by once again a pretty buff dude as well. So I'm actually wondering how that will turn out. So if I can actually get that, I'll try to review that as well. Anyway, thanks for watching the review. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave them comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.